Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Burning Cinema, the show where we revisit the movies that shaped our past. I'm your host, Ross, and joining me, as always, is my good friend and co-host, Tom. If you've been with us before, then you'll know the drill. If not, then get ready to dive headfirst into cinema's memory lane. Tom, it's the second episode of our latest theme, franchise fatigue, and last episode we looked at Fast and Furious 7, and I think we agreed that pretty much we were quite fatigued after it all, I believe.
Yes, very fatigued.
Some of us more than others. And so it brings on to this week's episode where we take on another instalment of a franchise that I would say refuses to die, really, basically. Tom, I give you X-Men, Days of Future Past.
Ooh.
Mutants, we now find ourselves on the edge of extinction. You'll need to go into the past to end this war before it ever begins.
Use your power. Bring the X-Men together.
It's going to take the two of us, side by side at a time when we couldn't be further apart.
The things that mean the most to me.
Maybe you should have fought harder for them.
There is a new enemy out there. Mutants. You'll need a new weapon for this war.
I know what I have to do. It's us or them.
So this film is, it's the seventh instalment. We seem to be sort of making a bit of a thing of this, isn't it? And seventh instalments, yeah. That's just by pure coincidence, I think. And we've got recurring characters, actors from both time periods in what is one big collaboration based on the popular X-Men comic story of the same name. And can I just say, what a cool name it is.
Oh, it's a phenomenal name.
I love, ever since I ever heard of the story, and I probably picked it up in probably 97 when the cartoon was on in the mornings, and because it was so popular, I used to follow it, watch it whenever I can, and they decided at some point within this cartoon series to do the Days of Future Past storyline from the comics, and it fitted in really well, and that was my kind of first introduction to this story, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was really, really good. But however, though, this comes hot off the heels following what was a single outing, wasn't it, by Hugh Jackman.
Yes.
He starred in the film The Wolverine, and at the end of that film we had Patrick Stewart, I believe, and Ian McKellen turn up at the end to warn us that things were going to get a bit spooky or a bit
bad.
A bit bad. The future
was not
looking
great.
good on the horizon. Things were not looking great. And so when I picked up on this, I mean, I think I already knew from press releases and various stuff that they were doing the Days of Future Past storyline. And I was buzzing, I've got to be honest with you, when I heard about this. I couldn't wait to go and see it. And so as soon as that came out in the cinema, I was there, front of the queue, ready to go and watch it. And certainly when I realised that, I suppose they weren't so much old characters, they were like the original characters, so the likes of your Hugh Jackmans, your Halle Berrys and Patrick Stewarts, from the first sort of 3 or 4. And then we were getting as well James McAvoy, weren't we?
Michael Fassbender.
Exactly, who play the younger versions of himself. And that's where we probably might be getting a little bit confused along the line when we deep dive into this of who's who. But we'll try and keep you all on track. But overall, I'm hoping that most people have obviously seen this before we're going to start going into it, because it will save us a lot of grief trying to explain the complex storyline and who is who. And on that note, I think, shall we deep dive? Shall we go for it?
Why not?
So we open with a dystopian future, don't we, of New York, and the world has gone to pot, hasn't it, Tom?
It has, which is weird considering the fact that that future was based in 2023.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wow! I didn't see a date on there or anything, but that is obviously.
That's
the
what came up in
official-
my research anyway. So that was when the year was meant to be based.
Wow, not the past now, according to us, isn't it?
I know, scary, isn't it?
Thank God that didn't happen anyway. And we open with a lovely bit of narration from Patrick Stewart, don't we? Which is always nice to hear. Mr. Stewart's
Just got
voice.
one of those voices, hasn't he?
Oh, he's a proper actor, isn't he? Let's be honest,
yes.
isn't he? And he could just read the back of a cereal packet, couldn't he, or something, or packet.
And it would be interesting.
And he would still make it sound good, wouldn't he? And so we're off to really, really good stuff. And we jump from New York, which is gone to the dogs, really, is the only way to describe.
Wasn't
isn't it?
looking good.
But then we zip off to what is Moscow, don't we?
We do.
And Moscow's having the same problems as New York, isn't it? So we straight away realise that, well, this is not just it's not a local issue, is it, for local people? It's very much
a global problem. And essentially, what's going on is there's a future war between mutants and humans who are helping them, and humans and their sentinels that are trying to get rid of them all.
Exactly, and we'll find a little bit more about what these sentinels are, and as we go along the way, of why things have got so dire for our characters. But we're introduced very quickly to a group of, well, they are X-Men. They've got the X-Men uniforms on. It's pretty blatant, really. But we're seeing some people we haven't seen before, aren't we? Who've got some very unusual and different characters and styles.
Yeah, we got a few new ones, a couple of old faces, and they're all sort of being introduced, but they're very quickly wiped out, aren't they? Which is quite surprising. Some of the more established ones, like Iceman, for example, just being brutally killed in the first few moments of this film, and it was a bit like, whoa, what's going on here? This is like shock factor straight away. There's these sentinels, these weird robot-looking creatures that what we're being shown is them mutating themselves to adapt to the powers that they're fighting with the X-Men and just wiping them out.
So we get the feel that they're on the run, aren't they?
Very much on the run.
And they're right up against it, against these crazy beings, the Sentinels. And as you say, can mimic their powers. Eventually, then they all disappear. And so do the Sentinels, don't they?
Yeah, and we end up then going to China, don't we?
I mean, we're zipping about a bit in this place,
We
aren't we? We
certainly
really are. China's having a rough
And-
time of it too, isn't it, as well? So.
Yeah, and this is where we introduced some classic X-Men characters. We've got Professor X, Magneto, played by Patrick Stewart, and Ian McKellen. I should have said Sirs before their names. We've got Wolverine's there, Hugh Jackman, Halle Berry as Storm, walking off their plane, and all of a sudden, these X-Men who we've just seen being killed are all alive again.
So now, I love the mystery and misdirection and confusion.
Perplexity of what's
I'm
going
enjoying that because I'm thinking, what is going on here? What is happening to these characters? And I love the moment when Mr. McKellen comes off, plays Magneto, walks off the plane, because you weren't expecting that. I remember watching that in the cinema and seeing him walk off, and you go, I get it. We're in trouble here now in this world where differences have been put aside, and we very quickly get that with some dialogue and a meeting, and I kind of like it really. Whilst it felt like breakneck speed and we were whizzing along quite quickly with the story, I did like how it was explained, and I did like when they're sitting there and they're talking about it. We very much quickly get on board that, Kitty Pryde, she can send someone back, their mind back in time to where their previous person is. And that's pretty much the plot device, isn't it?
Yeah, and what she's essentially doing is she's sending Bishop back in time a little bit to warn the X-Men that the Sentinels are coming so they can run away before they even get there. So that's why these X-Men who have just been killed are still alive, because in the current timeline, they've been warned and have avoided what we've just seen.
Good Lord. That's enough time travel for us, I think.
Yeah, but that's basically how the time travel works here.
In a nutshell, that is. And skipping along, because we don't want to get too bogged down in time travel, time coordinates, quantum physics, anything to do with all this. In a nutshell, Wolverine is going to go back in time to stop the war, isn't he?
Yeah, his task is to stop Mystique from killing Bolivar Trask, which is what sets off the creation of the Sentinels and the war.
Easy.
So that's all he's got to do.
And to be honest with you, quite well explained, I thought.
Explained
we
very
know
easy
exactly the
terms.
game. All the questions are answered. We're sitting there, well, hold on a minute. We're going back to the 1970s. Surely some of these people aren't alive. Ha ha. We've covered that one. Wolverine has been around for years, so he will look pretty much the same. So we've covered every angle of it. Brilliant, well done. I think they send him back pretty quickly, don't they?
Yep.
And he wakes up in his former self, doesn't he?
He does indeed.
Is it 1973, I want to say?
It is
that's a good guess.
1973.
Which I kind of love that we have to try and weirdly remember, don't we? That Hugh Jackman, God, he's played this character, hasn't he?
A very long time.
Even after this, isn't he? He's still going. Our latest album would have been Deadpool and Wolverine, hasn't it? And I just don't believe. I still believe he'll keep coming back. I don't believe he's hung up them claws yet, has he?
Not yet.
I don't know how far you can go with it until he's like literally an old man. He's not young spring chicken as he used to be anyway.
No, but still in amazing shape, isn't he?
I know he is. But he is, he's absolutely made that role for himself. And I think, everybody loves to see him on screen, don't they? And he is the main, sort of protagonist in this story, really, isn't it? And his role is to go and find Professor X and Magneto, isn't it? And to help him on his quest, in order to stop them.
Yeah, which is weird, sort of the idea of stopping the bad guy from being killed, isn't it?
Yeah.
In itself as a concept, but it makes sense because naturally, such a big event, an assassination by a mutant against a random man, would start. The issue between normal people and mutants.
Yeah.
What I quite like is the fact that apparently Sir Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen were apparently shocked at being asked to return. They thought their time was over. They thought they were done with X-Men, that it had been passed on to James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender to carry on their roles. But apparently they're absolutely delighted to come back because they love playing them.
So they actually believed that they're done. They were finished.
They thought that was
with
it.
all that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. We know now, and in 2026, don't we? We know that they're coming back as well, aren't they?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about a little bit of that at the end.
Yep.
And they do follow on for the few others from there, but yeah, we're introduced to Trask. We mentioned him earlier on, isn't it? Played by Peter Dinklage, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm probably gonna mention it a few times in this podcast, but the casting in this film, this is peak casting. Peter Dinklage, what an actor he is, and he just brings this role in such an interesting way, I think, because he's not playing like a pure evil villain, is he? Because he's fascinated by mutants, isn't he?
Yeah, so we dive into his little bit of history to him, doesn't he? And it is clear that he's been, later on in the film, we find out he's been experimenting, on some of the mutants. We get a nice little harp back, don't we, where we see pictures of previous mutants in it from previous films. Well, it looks quite gruesome autopsy photos, isn't there, where he's been sort of clearly dissecting them up a little bit.
Including characters that we saw in the previous film, wasn't it? Yeah. He is a curious scientist, isn't he, at the end of the day, and the mutants are an interesting spectacle for evolution and the human biology, etc. He's just going about it the wrong way. He is a bad guy, but he's not, I wouldn't say he's motivated by villainy as such, is he?
No.
He's a curious scientist who's just, let's say he's going about it horribly the wrong way, but it's interesting. It's not a villain born out of hatred.
No, and there's a moment when we'll come on to the character Colonel Stryker when he says to him, "You really hate the mutants, don't you, Trask?" And Trask turns around and says, "No. On the contrary, I don't. I find them fascinating, and I believe they are the bridge between us. And so you really get that little moment that." Whilst his methods are questionable,
to say the least,
his going forward, he's not really the bad guy. I mentioned, Colonel Stryker. We see him, a very young Colonel Stryker, who was played by Brian Cox, wasn't it, in the original X-Men, and then played by
Danny Huston.
Yeah, in the offset X-Men Origins, which less said about that the better, I think. That's
yes.
Yeah, that was a low point in the X-Men series. The Vietnam War is starting to finish, isn't it? It's starting to end, and we've got these young mutants, I would say, that are all being gathered together. It's sort of the beginning of collecting mutants up, isn't it? And not liking what these guys are up to, which is weird because obviously they were very good enough to fight in the war for them, it looked like, didn't it? But then now, at the end, you can go now. We're going to take you and kind of experiment on you, probably.
I think that was the plan, because Mystique turns up, doesn't she, to save them from this, get them back on a plane home, and not into Stryker's hands.
Yeah. We're certainly getting a lot of powers, and I do like it when, I get so frustrated sometimes when we watch superhero movies. People seem to be reluctant to use the powers. I know there's restricted budgets and special effects and stuff, but I do like it that, no, they would use those powers all the time and,
For
to
any
get
reason,
themselves out of problems and issues. This is part of their makeup.
And I like, for example, the amount of times we see Mystique changing into different people. Because I think that power is sometimes underutilized in previous films. Like, this is an amazing ability to disguise yourself as anyone, anywhere. So why would you not make the most of that at any given point?
Yeah. Certainly is the mystique of the character. She's come a long way from the films, and even in the comic books now, she's like a main character, where if you go right back to the early days, the X-Men comics, way before the TV show or anything like that, and I don't even think she was in the TV show very much, the cartoon. She's certainly, since the films, they've brought her character certainly more into the front line of being either a main X-Men or certainly a main character anyway on that side of things.
Interestingly, though, about Mystique, so obviously the whole costume prosthetic thing is very detailed and complex. But in the previous film, it actually caused issues for Jennifer Lawrence, who's playing Mystique in these newer films. So when they were doing First Class, there was a lot of health concern about the prosthetic that she had to wear to cover her body. And she's actually becoming unwell because the particles she was inhaling from it were making her sick. And they couldn't guarantee her that this wasn't going to have long-term health impacts. So she said, I'll only come back if you can resolve that problem. So they did and made a special sort of bodysuit that didn't have the particles, so she agreed to come back because it was like, we're not going to cause you any health problems now.
So Jennifer Lawrence, she's back. At the time, obviously, she was clearly, doing very well for herself, wasn't she, from Hunger Games and everything else.
Probably like Hollywood's leading lady at that point,
Yeah,
I'd say.
she was big bucks and big time actress, who was very bankable at the time. And certainly being in this, she's put herself to the forefront of all the character roster. And I gotta say, I think she looks the most 70s person in this. I think if you look at her costume and fashion, I'm not going to rip the fashion. I'm going to actually praise it this time, and I'm going to say that actually all her outfits and her hats and her makeup and everything, she looks the absolute part of the time period.
I'm going to come out there because I quite like film costume design and outfits. It's an interesting little world, and what a phenomenal job they've done all round in this film. Like, it's difficult to make a whole film based in a different era because you've got to source everything to make it look like... You've got to sell it. This is the 70s. You've got to sell the 70s with the vehicles, the costumes. I think it's really done... It's a beautiful bit of design the costume team have done in this film.
Yeah.
From making making mutants wear costumes that fit their mutant self, to making just the normal extras and everything all look the part. It really sells it, and they all look fantastic.
I remember seeing a documentary once where somebody was talking about how you do time periods in certain films, and they say a lot of films get it wrong. What they do is they dress everybody up into the latest fashion of that time period, and they say what you have to remember is the adults weren't dressed like that. They were still dressed in like 60s fashion was still there. People are a little bit behind, and you sit there and you think, yeah, and that's the same for like houses. People didn't decorate their houses to the absolute modern time of what the 70s really looked like, and what all the fads and fashions were. People's houses still look like they were in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s. So I kind of like that, and I think this film has took that approach to it, and certainly you can see that with people in the background and everything that. So I'm with you on that one, certainly is. And with this, Wolverine visits the mansion, doesn't he? The famous Xavier School for the Gifted mansion, isn't it? But it's in a bit of ill repair, isn't it?
It's seen
gone
better
down a bit,
days.
hasn't it? Since we last saw it in X-Men First Class.
It's been pretty much abandoned, hasn't it, really? Essentially, it's just Professor X, Charles, whatever you want to call him, and Hank McCoy living there.
Yeah.
That is it.
I do like the beast fight between Hugh Jackman and the Beast, isn't it? He's chucking him about, and
when you see them sort of about to fight, and then you just hear the scream and just see Wolverine being lobbed across the stairwell.
Launched.
So funny.
Yeah, he's got this kind of cry that he shouts out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, isn't it? That's sort of like he's a little bit out of his league here. Like, I'm not really quite sure how I'm going to deal with it, and he's probably holding back because he knows a beast, doesn't he? These are people
they're
that
ultimately
he's going to
they're his
know them
friends.
later on, isn't he? When they're older, which is interesting. We have this first visit with Professor X, played by James McAvoy, don't we? The younger version of.
And there's a
Professor X.
bit of explaining that needs to be done because he's walking around, which surprises people because in First Class he was shot in the spine and paralysed, hence his famous use of a wheelchair or hover chair.
Yeah, no
depending
wheelchair
on-
in this. Yeah.
No, he's walking around, but it's explained that he's getting these injections which allow him to walk, but they're taking away his ability to use his powers.
Yeah,
So it's sort of a bit of a balance. If he wants his powers, he's not allowed to walk.
which is quite good. I think it's a nice problem. I think that adds into this film
Yes.
is that Professor X is such a powerful character. You know that he can control minds. He does all this clever, weird stuff, doesn't he? The way he stops people in mid-motion, and then he can talk through them. He
Yep.
can control minds. And I think when you have a character that powerful, he would just be able to read Wolverine's mind and go, I know that you're from the future. I know all this is true, so I'm going to help you. So I like that issue that because he hasn't got those powers, he can't read
So
his
Wolverine
mind.
has to tell him stuff that only Professor X would know
Yeah,
to convince him, I'm from the future.
and he does. He tells him to do one, doesn't he? Or he remembers something. But I do like where Wolverine gets really angry and calls him. He said, "Listen here, you little shit," doesn't he? He gets really angry with him, doesn't he?
He does.
And I love it because you think, well, Professor X to Wolverine has always been this high almighty old man, isn't it? Who's old, and it's almost Wolverine's now looking down at him and think
Yeah.
he's just a snivering little shit.
Well, yeah, because
I
he's
like
just
that.
sort of a bit whingy and whiny, isn't he? I mean, there's a lot I like about this scene. I like them sort of getting together and chatting about their problems. I like the little things like just after the fight when, Professor X turns up and Hank's still hanging onto the chandelier. So he just goes, Hank, get off the chandelier. Like, he's fed up and it's like, you sort of go, well, what else has Hank been doing? Because clearly his behaviours have been annoying Professor X.
Yeah.
How many chandeliers has he been hanging off of for him to have had
Yeah.
enough of his behaviour? It's these you see the relationships building up.
There's a nice bit of character development. And talking to characters, we're going to go and meet a brand new character. Well, not a brand new in the X-Men universe, but certainly something we've never seen in any of the X-Men thing, which is we're going to go and meet Quicksilver, aren't we?
We are indeed.
A speedster, a man with incredible power to go blink you miss him. And they go to his house, don't they? And we're not going to go into the whole Maximoff and who he's actually really related to and who the little girl is sitting on the floor, Scarlet Witch, all the stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're going to start getting into nerdom. I'm going to be absolutely honest with you. We're going to find him because they're going to break Magneto out, who's being held in the Pentagon, isn't he? And
He's
they
in like
need Quicksilver to give him a hand. don't
Yeah.
they?
Well, this is the fun thing is that he's believed to be in prison in this. I mean, this is maximum security underneath the whole defensive department of the US government. But he's in there because apparently he's killed JFK
Yeah, there's like a
through
little
the whole curving the bullet thing.
yeah, there's a little sort of that's why he's there, and we don't really know. Oh, he's sort of the bad guy, and it was a bit weird because when we were in the future, we were talking to Ian McKellen, who plays the older version of Magneto, and all he turns around and says is just, "Yes, I'm on a different path." I mean, if I was in the room, and the stakes are pretty high, I'd be going, "Do you want to share any more of that? Do you want to?"
I might need some of this information
Yeah,
moving forward.
I'm basically going to go in the past, mate. Any info would be great because I'm on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate.
I mean, all does come out as to their different path.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
later on it's revealed that he didn't kill JFK. He was trying to save him because JFK was a mutant as well. I think it's all quite interesting tying it into real historical events.
Michael Fassbender. Another great actor, realistically, isn't he? I think he plays it really, really well. There's not much to say about him, really, to be honest with you. You look at him, and he's gonna sort of, forge that link between him and Professor X. About their troubles and fill in the gaps, basically, because obviously we've moved on in this. Even though we're in this 1973, we've moved on from what was the first instalment of the prequels. I want to say, First
Yeah,
Class.
I think that's pretty much
We
fair
want
to
to know
say.
what's been going on. How has he ended up? Why have they split up? What's going on with Mystique? Isn't it? And we get a little bit of that, don't we? or while they're on the plane, Michael Fassbender's character, isn't it, and James McAvoy, have this great little moment between them.
Dry your eyes, Eric. Doesn't justify what you've done.
You've no idea what I've done.
I know that you took the things that mean the most to me.
Well, maybe you should have fought harder for them.
If you want to fight, Eric, I will give you a fight!
Let him come.
You abandoned me! You took her away and you abandoned me!
Angel. Azazel. Emma. Banshee. We were supposed to protect them! Eric, where were you, Charles? You abandoned us all.
Yeah, I found that scene was, with the plane rippling, and
it was powerful, really powerful.
It's the very few moments where I think Professor X has always had the upper hand when Magneto hasn't had he's got his helmet on, isn't it? Where this was a sign of I'm in charge here now. I'm Magneto. I'm literally controlling this plane right now, and I can finish us all off if you want to.
I mean, I'm gonna say it. Everyone in this film acting is doing it. This is 100%. There's not a single flaw I've got in anyone's acting, whether it's a lead character supporting, even a minor character. Everyone in this film is phenomenal.
Yeah.
This is one of the most perfect bits of casting I think I've ever seen. And particularly trying to get so many big actors, so many big names, even in smaller roles. It's done so well. It is, I think, it's an artwork really getting this right. I mean, talking about smaller roles nailing it, we've got this bit where they're trying to break, Magneto out of the prison, and even the security guard who gets tied up with tape to the inside of the elevator,
doesn't he? Gets wrapped up.
And
with gaffer
all
tape.
he's got is his eyes to act with, and he's interacting with them because they're having conversation and they're looking back at him, and he's reacting to what's going on, even just with his eyes and eyebrows. Nails it. I don't even know who he is.
No, but he's part of that acting, sort of guild amongst them all, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
And
he does it so everyone's so good. But
Yeah.
yes, that prison scene, I think we need to talk about the prison break.
Wow, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah. So Quicksilver, obviously, with his super speed, is gonna get them out, isn't it? Before they even know. But I love the kind of real world grounding, where he says to Magneto, doesn't he? He puts his hand at the back of his head. He went, "What are you doing?" And he said like that, "Well, I'm supporting your neck so you don't get whiplash."
Yeah.
And it makes perfect sense.
It does, yeah.
Doesn't it? Because you go,
Yeah.
well, yeah. Can you imagine going from naught to God know the speed of light almost, and that literally your head would break off.
It would. But that's again, it's the details of that. Because it's fine. Quicksilver, he can do it. But other normal people can't. And again, as he runs through those guards, and they all sort of go up in the air in slow motion. And they're all sort of hanging there, and then all of a sudden, normal speed returns. Boof.
He's on some other level, this character, isn't he? Than anyone else. When they first meet him at his house, doesn't he? He says, well, he said, "How do you know we're not cops?" He said, "Well, you're definitely not cops. I've checked the number plate and done." He'd already done all that, hadn't he? As they pulled up, and he said, "And who's going to believe you?" And it's like you kind of go, "Well, that's kind of true, isn't it?" What, are you going to turn around and say that I can run really fast? Who is going to believe you? And you think it's right because he can run around and solve. I mean, he's got quite phenomenal power. I think, to be honest with you, it's probably the better. If you're going to have one, that's the one you want.
Oh yeah.
Because he's kind of really. I never realised it until I watched this time. Until he said that line, you go, "Well, who's going to believe you?" And you sit and go, "That's so true."
Particularly in this world when people haven't openly and widely been exposed to mutants. Who's going to believe it when you say, "Well, he did it"? It's like, well, that's impossible. Well, he must have moved at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Shut up, Dave.
Oh, well, I need to.
What are you talking
about? I can't
about?
see it, so how do
Yeah.
I know it's not true? How do I? I don't know. Yeah,
It's awesome. It's really well managed. Again, this is paying attention to detail and really caring about your craft is what is shown in this bit.
yeah.
But the main prison break bit,
Oh,
after that corridor, is they're in the kitchen
yeah.
and suddenly they're surrounded by guards who all fire their guns. And then everything suddenly stops. Everyone's
Yeah.
frozen in time.
And we now see it from his perspective, don't we?
We do. Oh, now this. I mean, I'd argue this is one of my favourite film scenes of all time.
Wow, did we hear that?
Because
That is incredible.
it all looks so real. And in fairness, a lot of it is. So we then see him going around the kitchen, manipulating people's movements in this sort of slow motion world. So he's making it look so that the guns will recoil in other people's faces, and he's moving the bullets around, and he's giving people like a wedgie or whatever, wasn't it, to get
a wedgie.
All these, I think that's what he does to one of the guys.
I think he did, yeah.
And it's all these little things, and then he suddenly comes back to normal speed, and all what he's manipulated comes true. You know, the guards, the recoil on their gun, knock each other out, and one of them gets flown through the air. It was so, and all with the music he's playing on his headphones.
All played a very tranquil 70s number, isn't it? That's playing in the background very slowly, but the irony is that he's running very fast, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing it so fast that we don't ever see it, but then we see it from his view, so we know what he's doing.
And then it literally snaps out of it within a second, and even McAvoy and Fassbender have no idea they just like go, oh, what's happened?
Literally jaws on the floor.
All the bullets go in, where he's moved the bullets fire into the background, don't they? So they missed them all, and then all the guys just fall to the floor. And it's all over within seconds. Yeah.
And so apparently to do it, they filmed it in a format of about 3,600 frames per second.
Oh, wow.
Which make it so that Quicksilver moves 150 times faster than normal. Yeah. And a lot of that scene was actually done with high-speed photography and stunt rigs, and CGI was only used for the objects sort of in mid-air.
Wow.
I mean, that is going above and beyond, because they could have just done CGI, the whole thing.
I remember speaking to a friend of mine. He'd watched this in the cinema, and then he told me, he said, "Oh, let me know what you think about it." I'd gone to see the cinema then, and we met up a little bit later on. And my good friend, he said to me, and I always remember him saying this. He said, "They've beaten the other superhero movies to it, haven't they? Where before we'd seen, the likes of your Supermans and your Batman's, there's always normally some kind of moment in it that's like kind of, oh, this is the first of we've ever seen." And I've got to be honest with you, they've done it first, and it takes some topping, I think.
It really does.
I don't think anything else where we've had a similar superhero that's done that has wowed me as much as that. I don't think we knew we were getting it. It fits into the story. It fits into the plot device.
And what a great way of explaining someone's superpower.
Yeah.
To show it from their perspective. You understand it then.
We didn't show it straight away. We didn't show him straight away that view. We waited until the opportunity. I mean, technically, we don't see him again after that. They sort of say their goodbyes, and that was then. He served his purpose. He's done that. That's the end of it. His character finished and done. Which I think, again, overall in this film, it knows how much character we need to put into each part of it. I think if you made it now, you'd probably go, oh, Quicksilver's coming along for the ride.
But that's the key, is knowing when someone needs to come along for the ride and knowing when they don't need to.
And they didn't need to, because with that absolute awesome power, he can solve any problem. And I think that's dangerous when you've got a character like that. He solved the problem. They needed to get Magneto out. They got him out.
Yeah. Job done.
Job done. Thank you very much for your help. And he's not an X-Men. He's not someone yet. I know we might.
For them, he was a tool.
We might. Yeah, he is. He's a device, isn't he? That they can use in order to get over a problem, isn't it? Sort of thing. So I like that. That's pretty good. So and there's a big meeting, isn't there, going on, which they're going to talk about mutants, aren't they? And obviously Trask is involved, isn't he? And and realizes with his very crude-looking kind of baby monitor, mutant baby monitor
device.
Yeah, what is that? Poor bit of tech. Would have probably expected something a bit more cool and steampunkish, but there you go. Yeah, and he realised that someone's in the room, and that's Mystique, and so
she's there to try and assassinate him.
Yeah, and so we're getting to the point of where we kind of need to stop it. This is the absolute point that the older versions of the X-Men were talking about. This is the moment where Mystique shoots Trask, and if you stop that,
you stop the war.
Yeah, future history will change itself, and we should be fine.
However, this is also where we discover that Magneto is on that different path.
Yes. It's that classic. There's been quite a few films like that, hasn't there, where they change the time, but they then set up. It's classic time travel plot device, isn't it? Where it's not quite as simple as just doing one thing. If they just had to do one thing to change it, to change the past, to change the future, whatever you might do, the greatest thing you can do is change the dynamics of it and then put another problem in that actually, even though we solved this problem, we've still got now another problem. So I kind of like that. That's pretty cool. What I did like that was cool as well was Magneto. I can't remember who it is. To stop him from shooting Mystique, someone pushes him out the way, don't they? They dive towards him. I can't remember if it's either Wolverine or it's Professor X. That's not the point. The point being is that he drops the gun. And what I love, that as he drops the gun, because he's got metal, he can control metal, he fires the gun still. I love that bit.
But then Mystique then jumps out the window and he uses his powers to make the bullet follow her. It's so good.
And then uses the bullet to drag her towards him.
Oh, God, yes, that was so freaky.
Yeah, and you go, God, he's on that level just like everybody else, isn't he? Him, Professor X, Wolverine. So yeah, good use of powers, good use of things. Love the Magneto whole scene of all that and everything. And then we at some point we get we take our heroes at an all-time low, aren't they? Because they don't know if they can actually do this, isn't it? And we get a weird, which I would say a mind meld, don't we, between Professor X as he decides he's going to get his powers back, doesn't he? And he's gonna he realizes this is his calling, and he does a little like sort of mind thing with Wolverine, and he links in with his older self, doesn't he?
He's like trying to convince himself, isn't he, that he can do this?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Yeah,
but really awesome.
A lovely way how to get them two together. Obviously, they shouldn't meet each other at all, is that? I mean, they technically don't, but in the world of superheroes, of course they do. I've got to be honest with you, the first thing that I would have said is, where's my bloody hair? Never mind about anything else with you. Because certainly if I looked at my older self and realised I was a bald man, I would be going, whoa, hold on a minute here, whoa.
How can I stop that?
I get the future is at stake here, but can we just have a chat about the hair? Is that a decision that you've made yourself to shave it? Or how do I do? If I lose it, can you tell me when I lose it? Because I'd like to try and avoid that future.
Well, we know what your priorities are as a mutant.
I'm right. I like my hair. I want to keep it.
But on a serious level, the scene where he gets his powers back and he's sort of so upset, isn't he? Because he can hear all the problems in the world. You then realise how painful and difficult his power in his gift really is, and why he didn't want it back.
Yeah.
Because he can hear so much. I mean, that must be awful. Living with that, the noise, the never-ending noise of hearing everybody. It's not all fantastical and save the world stuff. Like the pain that Professor X is having to live with. You can see why he didn't want that back. Why he'd go, no, I'm going to choose to walk. Like, that's more beneficial to me.
By the power of drugs, I will walk and not have these powers. I will choose this life, you know.
Which, again, is an interesting thing for a superhero to do, because we always get superhero powers. Oh, it's amazing, how fantastic, all these amazing things they can do. They don't look at the other side of it and the consequences. And I think, again, that is hats off to bringing that into an already packed film and managing it so well.
There's a lot, isn't there? So we talk about the SFX, you know, the CGI in this. I think it's passable. I didn't feel myself being taken out too much by it. I mean,
I mean, some of it's not groundbreaking, but it's nothing that I sat there and watching it. I thought, oh God, what's this? Like, I was just like, yeah, it's fine. Whatever.
Yeah,
whatever is at the end of the day. It's it's not perfect. It's not the best CGI I've ever seen, but it's not causing me an issue.
No, it certainly wasn't. Certainly, none of it took me out of the film at all, at any point, or so. It certainly moved along, and the cuts to it were pretty good. It's not the level
like you're going to see in like a movie on the Sci-Fi Channel where it's like, what's this garbage?
Yeah, it was like clearly in front of a studio on a blue screen. Yeah, there was none of that. Yeah. We've been away from the future for quite a while, nearly for most of this film, haven't we? We haven't really gone back. And we are, well, I'd say slowly approaching the finale, aren't we, to a certain point? And we go back to the future. Back to the future. Oh, there it is, everyone. I said I got it in there. I got it in there. I think at one point Wolverine is getting a little bit sort of rattly, isn't he, about it all? And I think that came a little bit earlier, didn't he? And he sort of stabbed Kitty Pryde, hasn't he, in the arm or something? He's lashed out, and so you get the stakes are now getting pretty high. We were introduced earlier on to a character called Warpath, weren't we?
We were indeed.
We then realised we know why he's there, didn't we? Because he's got sort of super hearing, and he realised that the Sentinels are now on their way. That's the future ones, aren't they? Are now on their way here.
I mean, this final act sort of bounces around between the future and the past, which is quite nice to see what's going on. So, in the past, obviously, the job is to stop this whole killing of Trask. In the future, they've got to stop the Sentinels from getting to Kitty Pryde and Wolverine and killing them, which would then stop their mission to go back in the past.
Crazy stuff. It sounds more complicated than it is, but in a nutshell,
really,
yeah. And
it's
we're going to
really
end
well
up
explained, isn't
Well,
it?
of course we are. We're going to end up with these two parallels running side by side, aren't we? The past and the future. Whilst the future people are losing and we're losing lives, aren't we? Again,
Yep.
people are getting killed for a second time round.
And it's really quite brutal. Like, some of the deaths, I mean, Colossus gets torn in half.
Yeah.
Warpath has his face burnt off. Don't they, like, snap off Iceman's head and crush it or something? at one
That was
point?
in the beginning, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was in the beginning, like,
they
these
took
are
his head
really-
off. I can't remember how. I think he's one of the last ones. I think he's trying to freeze the door to stop them from coming in. He's like the last line of defence.
At one point they even, is it Magneto gets injured, doesn't he, in the defence? He's not able to stop all of the metal and he gets stabbed by it. And while they're all sort of looking around to check on him, one of the Sentinels comes up out of nowhere and stabs Storm and just throws her off the mountain.
That's it. Brutal.
And it was like, what is this? Like, one of the main X-Men we've had for the whole franchise,
yeah.
gone.
But I think it's that building that stakes. It's rising it as
Yeah.
high as you can. You start like people are dying, X-Men are disappearing. You know, these guys who have got like really cool powers, like Sunspot, he's like blasting it with fire. You know, even he's not even good enough to try and defend. None of them are good. So we're really basically chucking it down there that, well, this is it. It's all up to you, Wolverine.
This is the last stand.
This is it. This is the last thing. But Wolverine himself doesn't really have any input right at the very end. If you noticed, he had been brutally with these.
That was rough.
Yeah, they're like. There's a name for it. Are they called
Steel-
Rybars? I want to call them or
something like
something.
that.
They
Steel
belong in
supports, whatever.
concrete, don't they?
Yeah.
And they're basically steel rods, is the easy way to explain it. And Magneto bends them round, doesn't he? And penetrates him through his legs, and it's quite
It's
grim.
his whole body, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't realise how when I was watching it, I was like, cool, this is rough, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, this is horrible.
Then he just throws him into the river
Yeah,
to drown.
done, and we won't see him. That's it. And so he doesn't really have any factor into the final scenes, really. But hopefully, Wolverine's done enough to convince Professor X, who will then convince, isn't it, Mystique?
Finally convinces Mystique to turn
finally
on
not
Magneto.
killing him. Yeah.
They would stop Magneto, save the president, save Trask.
Yeah,
Magneto buggers off.
buggers off.
I just love how he just, brings up his arms and just hovers away.
Hover.
It's
See you
so
later.
good. I love it.
I'm off now. I'm done now. I've done enough. I've done
Bye,
enough.
everyone.
I picked up an entire stadium.
Oh, that was good. That was.
I love. Because Magneto picks up, he rises this entire circular stadium, doesn't he, up and puts it around the White House. The bit where he drops it, there's a camera shot that's pretty cool, I think, and it's following the police cars.
Yeah,
It's like a tracking shot. You know I love a tracking shot, right?
you do indeed.
Someone is driving behind, and then this whole thing comes crashing down in front of the road and blocks the road off, and all the police cars screech. And I just thought, that's pretty cool. I like that.
very
That's
cool.
That's really well done. Without showing, you don't have to show all of it. We know what's going on. You know?
Yeah, we just need that little bit.
Yeah, and so, Wolverine is left sort of in the river, really, isn't he? But we have to remember that that's not the real Wolverine, is it? I mean, it is the real Wolverine, isn't it? But it's the Wolverine from the past, isn't it? Yeah, they succeeded, didn't they?
They did indeed, and Wolverine wakes up again
Yeah.
in the mansion, the house of
He's
the
a bit
X-Men,
disorientated,
the
isn't he? He doesn't really know what's going on.
And then we get cameo central.
Here
don't
we go.
This is
Yeah.
so good.
Someone has picked the lever and gone, send fan service to Max, haven't they? And pushed that lever
Yep.
and wound it up, haven't they? And gone, we're going to take this to 11.
Oh, and they did. They're bringing.
I watched it. I had no idea they were all going to be in it at the end. It was such a surprise for me in the cinema. I literally sat there and I thought, oh, here we go. And he sees there's Rogue and there's Iceman. They're alive again. I think he walks past the classroom, don't we? And there's some other characters that are all alive in it.
That's it. Rogue comes in.
Yeah.
We need to mention that, don't we? She's only in it for about 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Anna Paquin, but there is a Rogue cut out there so much I want to see. Where,
I have never seen it.
because her scenes, she was in the film a fair bit, but were all cut.
It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Very strange. But so we need to watch that at some point.
Yeah, at
But,
some point, get that in.
Jean Grey's back.
Yeah.
Scott Summers is back.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the Kelsey Grammer cameo?
Kelsey Grammer's back, is he?
Literally in it for like 5 seconds.
He said, "Oh, bit of a late one for you."
Yeah.
Didn't he? Done as he walked fast,
Yeah,
didn't he?
that's it.
Yeah, and you sort of go, "Wow, that is amazing." You got all these people back to do these little tiny. I mean, you can see how very easily it's done because they clearly filmed all their scenes on their own. You know, like.
Yeah.
But it all interconnects very well. Sort of that X-Men fan of the original and the second one, it was very nice to go, the gang's back together again. Obviously, he speaks to Patrick Stewart, doesn't he? And Patrick Stewart, Professor X is a little bit like, well, what are you talking about? I don't really know what to do. And then out of nowhere, he just goes, well, I need some bits filling in.
Just got
and
back
then
from
I love that he goes, welcome back. That means he knew. He knows.
He remembers.
He knows. He's one of the few ones that remembers or knows. I love that. That's really, really good. Yeah, which he would know, wouldn't he? He would know because
he would know.
He
It's
was the
Professor
only one
X.
in the younger X-Men universe who was told the full plot device. So he knew that at some point in the future, Wolverine would turn up and would say, I'm a little bit disorientated here. He would know then that that's the point where he returned. Awesome, love that.
Well, was averted.
Well, nice satisfaction at the end, really, wasn't it? And everything. Everyone lives happily ever after. Anyway, that was X-Men: Days of Future Past. I enjoyed this film, if you cannot tell.
So did I.
Yeah, this was good. Going back to it, I'll be honest with you, and I went back into this. I thought, I wonder if it might be a little bit boring. I wonder if it might be a little bit. My sort of nostalgic eyes thought, I enjoyed it then. Going back to it now, is it going to be as good? We've had a lot of X-Men, haven't we? And
we certainly
like
have.
all of our rest of our franchises, after this one, we're going to get Dark Phoenix. We're going to get Apocalypse. We're going to get Logan, aren't we? And, by that time, there seems to be no end to this franchise that we want to keep going. And I think with the success of Marvel, they were up against it, weren't they?
Big time.
So, and to say that, like we mentioned right at the beginning, this one refuses to die, does it? As Patrick Stewart and obviously Ian McKellen are Cyclops, isn't it? James Marsden is reprising their roles later on this year in Doomsday. So we ain't giving up, is it?
Absolutely not.
We're not. There's obviously love for this franchise and love for these characters. I got to be honest with you. At the end of it, I wanted more.
Oh yeah. The whole point is are we fatigued? Are we bored of these franchises now? No, not this one.
Not this one. This one went the other way, didn't it? Completely. Yeah, good acting, good action scenes, good story. Generally all over, and a good addition to the whole saga, I think.
Massively.
Definitely. I'm quite happy, really, that as a fan, to go, that's the end, to be absolutely honest with you. I think it finished a lot of storylines, it closed a lot of doors. They couldn't really go wrong. They could have easily balls this up, but they didn't,
There we go.
So, Tom, did you have a favourite scene or anything, a favourite part? I think I might know what it is, but...
It is the Quicksilver scene. It is the Quicksilver scene. But, I mean, there's so many good bits in this film. Like, the whole film is so well done. So well done. You?
Whilst I love that scene as well, I think it's pretty awesome. I'm going to go a little bit outside, actually, really, and I'm going to say I like the Moscow hideout, where we first meet all our random characters, and we're kicked off into the action. I remember being so excited to see so many powers being used in such a small space of time, and everyone's doing their bit. I love confusion. There's a great saying, isn't there, that like it's better to be confused for 15 minutes than it is to be bored for 5. And I find that when I jumped into this film, lucky enough as I was to actually not know too much about it, I loved that I didn't, whilst I knew the time travel plot was coming, I still didn't know really what was going on.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. I like the confusion and mystery, and we saw the characters and then we see them better. So I'm going to go for the first bit. I did like the opening. I thought it was really good. Standard, good storytelling.
There we go.
And good, generally good film. And I think, no matter, even if you're not a fan, it's quite enjoyable to watch. And watch, Hugh Jackman's Plandering his way through 1970s America. You know, it's quite good.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Which gets to us too, obviously, as we always do at the end of this podcast, is the official Flame rating. Tom, I'm going to go to you.
5.
Oh, beautiful.
It just is. I really struggle to fault anything with this film. And I was watching it. I was watching really intently to find, and I just can't do it. It's such a good film.
Yeah. I'm going to go straight out there. I went 5 as well. I wrote it down. Yeah, I didn't know whether you'd go a 4 or come down a little bit. I did sit there and think about it being, but no, actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I did when I watched it, to the point of where I wasn't making any notes. And I think if you can have that it can still grip you and bring you in without you being distracted. And certainly when we sit there and watch these, I'm going old school. I stand there I sit there with a pen and penning the ink, and writing what I think. And if it can stop me from writing and just completely grip me, bearing in mind, it came out in 2015. But as I say, there you go, everybody. That was X-Men: Days of Future Past, and did quite well, didn't it?
I think it did very well.
Marvellous. However, though, that leads me on to Tom. You've got something else for us. We continue our franchise fatigue. We certainly weren't fatigued on this one.
No, we weren't.
So we'll find out, what have you got us to have a look in the next big franchise that we're going to take on?
Well, this time we're going to be taking on Alien Robots, because we're going to go back to 2014, a Michael Bay film with Transformers: Age of Extinction.
After all we have done, humans are hunting us. But I fear we are all targets now.
What is that?
Who sent you here? This is not war. It's human extinction.
Oh, so there you have it. We delve here. I don't think we've done Transformers, have we? At all?
We have
These
not,
are all
no.
very new franchises. We're going to be having a look at that, and we've been saying that. Am I right? The 4th installment? Am I thinking? Yeah. So have we had enough? Do we want to get off? Are we fed up with transforming? Are we fed up with robots? Or are we just fed up with Mark Wahlberg? Who knows? We'll find out certainly next episode. You'll see that in a couple of weeks' time on the Monday. And remember, you can follow us on YouTube and Spotify and keep up to date on all our upcoming themes and episodes on Instagram. Follow the links. Send us a comment. Click a like, have a look and see all the good stuff that we've got for you on the channel. And, well, I would say that's the end of the podcast, and that's all I have time for. So until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.